Welcome to my channel, The Drama Show, Fireworks of My Heart. Hello guys. So when Dr. Kin and Song are standing together, Officer Lee arrives at that moment. She was very concerned about Song. She even helped Song put on his shirt because he was injured. However, Song still refuses her assistance, especially if he were alone with Lai. However, Song wanted to show Xu that he had moved on. Actually, Officer Lee secretly liked Song a lot, and she was worried when Song's shoes got wet. So, Lai goes to get slippers for Song. At that moment, Dr. Xu asks Song, "Is she your girlfriend? If you've truly moved on, do you have someone else in your life? If you really have a girlfriend, you could have told me directly." But Song's response was that whatever happened between him and Xu was between them and no one else. Su Quinn says, "What was my age at that time when I left you? I was dependent on my parents and I couldn't rebel against them." And here, in anger, Song says, "You dumped me as if someone would discard a dog. You could have at least explained. You didn't even turn back once." And then, in the end, he concludes on this note, "I was young at that time. I could endure the pain. But if something like this happens to me again, I won't be able to bear it. I'll die. Whoever can leave someone once can leave them again. A new excuse can always come up. That's why I want to tell you, I don't hate you, but I don't want any relationship with you." Now, as Song comes out of the room, Officer Lee had brought his shoes, but Song doesn't even talk to her properly. Lai understood that she is Song's ex-girlfriend. Officer Lee says to Song, "If you don't want to give her a chance, can you at least consider giving me a chance? Give me a chance to prove myself." But Song's response was clear. "No, not you either. I don't want to have any relationship with anyone." However, Lee had a sense that even today, if someone resided in the heart of the Song, it had to be Dr. Kin. A little while later, Kin received a blood report, which belonged to the driver involved in the car accident. He had a rare disease, and the virus could potentially be transmitted through his blood. Kin immediately became worried and instructed the disinfection of all instruments. She insisted on having everyone who had been in close contact with the patient undergo a checkup. Following this, Kin promptly summoned the firefighters, including Song and his team's 4 members. Those who had close contact with the patient's blood will also need to undergo blood tests. However, the patient's mother starts getting angry with Su King, saying, "Why have you kept my son in the IQ? Put him in a separate room." Even she was aware of this disease that had caused her son's illness. Quinn becomes very angry at this point and says, "Your son's life is important because he's wealthy, but the staff working here, the firefighters, their lives have no importance." Here we learn that army and police personnel are often respected, but firefighters don't receive the same level of respect. Here, Kin makes the patient's mother realize that when her son was dying, struggling, these were the same boys who saved his life and pulled him out of the water. Now, as these boys were getting their tests done, Kin arrives and says, "One of the boys has a shortage of medicine. I suggest you get the antivirus right now because you were injured at that time too. So your chances of getting infected are higher." Actually, it was a rare disease, so the medicine was quite scarce. But here, Song makes a decision. He's the chief, so he refuses to take the medicine. Instead, he gives it to his team members. Now, Song gives all 3 medicines to those 3 boys and thinks to himself that if he were to lose his life in this uniform, he wouldn't care. He would always be proud, and he would hold his head high. Just then, Kin arrives and had witnessed that Song didn't take the medicine himself. Instead, he gave it to his staff. Now, Xu starts to worry about him a lot. She tells Song that today he will stay in the hospital, and after that, Xu contacts various sources until she eventually manages to obtain the medicine. Now, she rushes to Song with the dose, because the sooner he takes it, the safer he'll be. Xu tells Song only this much: "I'm doing everything because this is my profession." She also adds that if he doesn't want any relationship with her, she respects his decision. Now, when Song returns, Su tries to talk to him. Suo signals to him that he's thinking about transferring to another job. It was actually for personal reasons, because he hadn't been able to give his family the time they deserved, and he couldn't get married due to his busy schedule. Song wanted to stop him, but he couldn't express it directly. So Su tells Song, "You know, that's your problem. You don't say what's on your mind. It seems like the situation was quite similar in Exu Kin's case as well. After that, they both go inside and start eavesdropping on their trainees' conversations outside their rooms. These trainees were quite fed up. Some of them were annoyed by Song's strictness, while others were exhausted from rigorous training. But they had no idea that their bosses were standing outside, listening to all of this. Well, the next blood test report comes in, and it turns out that they are all safe. They will have another test in 4 weeks. While over there, Song notices something in his room. Seeing this, Song becomes very angry and says, "You know that our station is falling behind right now. These trainees are all new, and they need us. If you leave, how am I supposed to handle all of this on my own?" They had made a promise to stay together to elevate their station. However, Sue responds, "I'm tired. It's been 5 years, and the salary here isn't that great. That's why I want to arrange a transfer now." All of this comes as a shock to Song, and he reacts strongly, telling Sue, "Fine, if you want to leave, go ahead. You don't need to care about this place. You're only doing all of this for money." Meanwhile, Dr. Soo Kin and her staff, after working hard all day, start thinking about going on an outing. But suddenly, they receive an emergency call. There was a patient whose heart had stopped beating. They rush to the scene and begin key PR, but the patient is not responding. They have to resort to using electric shocks to revive the patient. And eventually, after a lot of hard work, the patient's breathing is finally restored. They had pulled the patient back from the brink of death, and this moment was even more joyful than the outing they had planned. However, the next day, when Song was training his new recruits, he noticed that these boys were not taking their training seriously at all. Moreover, Song was still very angry because of Sue. So, he becomes even more aggressive than his daily routine. Firefighter training was tough and demanding, and one of the new recruits made several mistakes due to their childish behavior. This prompts Song to yell at them loudly and sternly. Sue tries to intervene to calm Song down, but Song isn't listening to anyone at the moment. He goes inside. All the boys present there had noticed that Song had never behaved this way with Sue before. Something significant must have happened to cause this argument between them. Meanwhile, the family of the patient saved by Dr. Exu Kin and her team were expressing heartfelt thanks. Dr. Yang also noticed something important. Initially, she might have thought that Exu Kin had gotten this position through connections, but her skills as a capable doctor were undeniable. There was no doubt about her abilities. The next day, Suo sits down with Song again to share a meal and tries to make amends. However, Song gets up and leaves, which causes all the boys to start gossiping. They had never seen Sue and Song argue like this before. They used to be an ideal friends. The 3 boys who were taking the medicine say that they are experiencing a lot of weakness due to the medicine side effects. They say the strongest and most physically fit among us is definitely Mr. Song, as he appeared very strong without any side effects. And at this point, this part of the story comes to an end. If you liked this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, The Drama Show. And don't forget to press the bell icon so that you stay updated on upcoming videos. Until then, goodbye and